Good afternoon to everyone, and I will have the pleasure to host this final part of the day one of the European B Corp Summit. And I was thinking as I was listening to the previous panel, what a better session we could plan right after this somewhat, heavy news that we get, not only in this, previous panel, and Tom, we're so grateful for, Edward, for sharing the tools with us and the news that science shares with us. But then, as an individual who works in the space of sustainability for a decade now, I do feel a sense of, I reject being passive and I reject being incapable of taking action, and that's been leading me to be part of being part of an impact sector altogether, and I really want to remind us to maybe take a good deep breath and to really settle those maybe stirred emotions to sink in, and then from that place we can talk about what is the action that we can take today, because I do believe that every single one of us and in masses we have more power to take action together. And that was partially what we heard in the panel previously, and that's also what we heard from COP26 as well, that there is some movement and there is momentum, but at the same time it really depends on every single one of us, and especially to really understand and hack this work of working collaboratively. So it is a great duty for me to host this session now. I will be in this session trying to unpack this concept of collective action that basically emerged through the unorganized actions of our community, but beyond our community, many other communities and movements want to also take action in climate space, but beyond overall the world wicked problems. And I will be accompanied in this session with 4 initiatives that emerged in the B Corp movement in the past years. And I will be telling the story of collective action through their experiences. So we will be actually doing a creative session here, and I will be narrating the story of collective action through their experiences. And they were so kind, our initiatives, if we can go to the next slide, from Interdependence Coalition to Beauty Coalition, B Corp Beauty Coalition, to Finance and Investment Coalition in the UK, to Let's Play Equal initiative in Benelux, to really share with us their learnings, their experiences, so we can shed light into this sometimes seeming abstract and incomprehensible topic, that how it can be seen in a more concrete way. So let's attempt to do that in this space. So to continue with the session, I will first actually share the definition of collective action that we saw emerging in the B Corp movement through the actions of the B Corp movement. Today, the B Corp community is a diverse group of companies, and they span across sectors, sizes, ownership structures, and also geographies in Europe, UK, Latin America, and beyond. And while these companies may be tackling some specific issue through their business operations, through their business model, this movement as a whole, actually, of 4,000 companies remains united under one common vision to really create an inclusive, equitable, and regenerative economic system for all people and the planet. So what the companies have been increasingly doing is coalescing into self-organized networks, groups of companies united around a common goal, industry, or identity. And that's really the way we understand, what collective action is in the B Corp movement. And you will see that what's distinctive about collective action is that these singular units, they don't have to act together for their individual interest. But if it's a societal interest that we're talking about, it is that time to talk about the common problems at a common space to really tackle them and be powerful and stronger together. So that's really how we understand, the collective action, and through the experiences of our initiatives, you will also, I believe, hear this through their voices too. So if we go to the next slide now, I want to share, a little bit around what kind of focus areas that we saw emerging from these, self-organizing B Corps. What were some of the incentives that they came together? So to start with, so it's not like there's only one focus area that B Corps choose to gather around. There are a number of them that affect the coming together of the B Corps. There is all across initiatives, very often there's an impact and strong interest to create impact, either in their industry, either on a specific topic, or in an identity group, or in a space like climate action space. And very often there's also a regional context that they want to solve this problem. Sometimes it's a global level, like B Corp Climate Collective, but then we also see there more local representations like Nordics B Corp Climate Collective or French B Corp Climate Collective, or we will hear from Let's Play Equal initiative, which is more focused on tackling the problem from the lens of Benelux regions needs. And we also see at times a function and specific role of individuals they play in their company being the reason of coming together. For example, employee well-being, and really wanting to understand how to support their employees, or shifting narrative through marketing and communications, and really professionals in these areas coming together and learning together through the diverse experiences that they carry. And of course, we have industry-specific initiatives. Today, we will hear from Beauty Coalition, who is more specialized in the specific to personal care space, and also from the finance and investment industry, as they have the common problems and they want to work with. And in a number of other things, of course, the identity, more gender-based focus groups, or business goals to create a market opportunity together, and a learning goal, which we've seen around, during especially in the early stages of COVID-19 pandemic, that how can companies learn to adapt to this very drastic and disruptive situation, and there has been so many shared resources and spaces created for these. So these are some of the reasons, like how companies are organizing themselves. And if we continue further, we will also see that collective actions have stages of development. And sometimes when we start a collective action, maybe we want to, already have a working system, and we already know the why of the project. And we also want to know, who's really committed and who's really there. Yet we see that there is stages of development over time to collective action projects. And it's really the start time, at the start phase, in the pre-network phase. It's all about one or two or a couple of companies having interest, having a common interest, and asking this question of how can we solve this problem together, but not necessarily, having a large group yet, or having any tools or structures in place to be, collaborating in an effective way together. But then as they move on, we see that they form a bit more of a structured network, which is essentially the space where they have more regular meetings, and they have some sort of a communication tool they start using. It could be from WhatsApp to Beehive to any form of communication tool, and they have a more clarity around why they are working together. And a step further of the network is really this community of practice space, which is really the moment where companies have established structures around their meetings, their meeting cadence, working groups, and communication tools. And even so, they start taking steps around how they can be externally visible and communicate with the world about the results of their work, or their work as a more broad sense. And following this community of practice, the action collectives, really this really matured versions of collective actions, are those that really secured ongoing resourcing for their continuation of their collective action, as the collective actions are very often initiated by voluntary knowledge and wisdom of the participants. At the action collective state, it's really about also resources and really making sure that the structures are able to maintain for longer term impact. So that's the longer term, look at how a collective action initiative can evolve and grow. But sometimes actually the work is one time. It's a specific time frame that the why question that the group is trying to resolve maybe has only a specific time frame, and it will be completed at the end of that time frame, or it's a specific project that they are trying to do. And these are also collective actions that's really about taking ownership of a problem together and acting together. So let's see the full spectrum of different initiatives that we have available in the B Corp movement. And through the examples of the 4 initiatives that we're hosting today, we will try to uncover some of these questions. And I asked specific questions to each one of them, and we will try to see the complete story through the answers that they have. And on the right side here, I will also point out that there always has to be a reason for the companies coming together and a goal that they're trying to achieve. And there has to be the right people in the place, and there has to be a governance or a structure and set of processes for them to be able to continue. So those are the reflected into question form on the left. And let's try to uncover those through the experiences of the B Corp initiatives now. To start with, we will go to the next slide, and we will actually play our first video to hear from 4 of our initiatives, who they are and what their collective action is all about.
Hallo allemaal, mijn naam is Michael Cortino.
Daniela Gonzalez.
Judith van Harte.
My name is Jennifer Dennison.
Nienke Geus.
My name is Tessa Werther.
Hi, my name is Małgosia Hermanowicz.
Whether you are a gender bender, you're truly colorblind, or you go around blaming and shaming, with the Let's Play Equal game we are about to celebrate diversity and inclusion in all its beauty and all its agony. Did you ever go on a truly blind date, got stopped by the police, or woke up being a rich old white guy? This game will get you there. Let's Play Equal lets you experience having privilege or not having it at all. So let's see how it affects your success, finding the love of your life, or finding yourself a nice home to live.
You don't know what kind of background you have. You will encounter unexpected situations, and you have to finish the game all together and help each other out.
Ciao a tutti, I am Paolo Braguzzi and I am a B Corp activist from Italy. Some of you may remember that 1 year ago, at the European B Corp Summit, I presented the idea to start a B Corp Beauty Coalition. That was already the beginning at that time. Now I'm glad to inform you that the Beauty Coalition is there. We started with 7 companies, namely Dr. Bronner's from the US, Scandinavisk from Sweden, Rudolf Care from Denmark, Expansions from France, and then Davines, Natural is Better, and Antica Ergosteria from Italy. Now there are more than 20 companies that are part of the coalition, and we are ready to start the working groups. The purpose we have is to learn from each other, to exchange practices at pre-competitive level, and possibly improve our impact. But at the same time, we have the ambition to raise the bar from the industry and lead the transformation of the industry by example.
Hi everyone, I'm Amy Clarke and I'm the co-founder of Tribe Impact Capital in the UK. And I'm here to talk to you today about the recently established UK B Corp Finance Coalition, which has its roots in the Finance and Investment Working Group that was pulled together at the beginning of 2021 to share best practice and learning across the UK finance and investment community of B corporations.
Dzień dobry. Hello. My name is Wojciech Baginski, and I'm one of the country partners of B Lab Europe, specifically a member of Team Poland. Together with some other friends, I'm also running a purposeful law firm looking to create some positive impacts through the practice of law. Together with Katie Hill and B Lab Europe, I'm also one of the co-founders of the Interdependence Coalition, which is set to amplify the voices of B Corps and other stakeholder-oriented companies so that the EU can make a swift shift towards a stakeholder-oriented economy. Specifically, we are advocating for the reform of the companies law on the EU-wide scale so that managers of every company in Europe are obliged, mandated, to consider stakeholder interests while undertaking business decisions.
So these are the initiatives that were accompanied by today, and I saw already some questions about the initiatives coming through the chat. I'm sure some of the initiative members here might be responding to as well. But Michele, for the Let's Play Equal game, we actually had an opportunity to be part of a testing phase of the game. I'm sure there are some more are going to take place. Maybe if you're in Benelux region, reach out to the team behind it. We will share the contact info later. So to continue on this, we will try to illustrate this creation and you know, really how to kick off a collective action. And let's hear now about, if we go to the next slide, the second question that we asked our initiative takers is, why do they actually start working with others? Well, what is the main incentive at the start that they have? And to illustrate that through the example of Interdependence Coalition, let's play the video now to hear from them.
The Interdependence Coalition is a joint effort of many organizations, including companies that on a daily basis put stakeholders at par with shareholders. The idea behind the coalition is to collect examples, best cases from companies that practice stakeholder corporate governance on a daily basis. The idea is to show the EU that not only that this model works, but that B Corps thrive in many aspects, including economically. The idea is also to help the EU to make a move towards a stakeholder corporate governance model, which is essential if we want to move towards a more sustainable economy on a global scale. This task is impossible to achieve alone. That's why we decided to team up. That's why we need your help, and that's why we need your company's help.
Thank you, Wojciech. Thank you for sharing with us. I think it really summarizes this task is impossible to take on alone. So that's really summarizes why many times companies come together. And so I want to go to the next phase now, the next question, because that really speaks to the strong motivation and incentive of creation of a collective action. And without a clear common problem question that the companies have together, there will be, challenges in really defining the purpose and keeping the strength of the collective action later on. So let's hear now from two initiatives we asked this question to. One is the UK Finance and Investment Collective Coalition, and also the Let's Play Equal initiative. Let's hear from them. What is the problem they're trying to solve through their collective actions?
Diversity in the broadest sense of the word, it is a beautiful thing. It adds color, it adds joy, it gives us new perspectives, it challenges our thinking. At the same time, inequality is happening, polarization is happening, chances are not equally spread. People don't feel at home in their own communities. So we aim to create an experience where people get to see the beauty of diversity in a playful way. To create understanding, awareness, and most importantly, build meaningful connection.
We notice that there is a lot of attention for diversity and inclusion, but that it's very hard to translate this back to the workplace and a workforce. And sometimes there's just not enough empathy for including different people and different opinions from different backgrounds into your workforce.
We want to inspire people to take the first step, to really make another person's story their own. Because when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
So ahead of COP26, the coalition agreed that there was a need to elevate the profile and the voices of the B Corp finance and investment community in the UK. Now, why? Well, because for too long, the narrative around the role of finance has been dominated by those without purpose really coded into the DNA of their businesses, and also because we passionately believe that we're part of the solution, and through radical collaboration we can really help move finance further and faster forward. So with that in mind, we took a very clear call to arms to COP26 that was and is anchored in the need for corporate governance to become part of the conversation. Our message was very clear: lean into future fitness and purpose by amending your articles of association. And this message was clearly directed at global finance. To be clear, this was not and is not a call for finance houses to become B Corps. What it is a clear call for radical changes in corporate governance to be tabled and recognized for the game-changing intervention we all know them to be.
Thank you very much to everyone. We heard through this video. So again, there's so much interesting content. You know, we're trying to show you the different cases from a finance space to corporate governance, you know, entering the finance space to really this diversity and inclusion space. But for me to keep the narrative around, you know, why companies come together and really work together, the next question that I naturally have is that the companies are working together because they cannot solve the problems on their own. Any problem is too big for them to solve alone. Very often we don't have the, you know, the big resources, or either monetary or knowledge-wise. Otherwise, we need more than only ourselves to solve a big problem. So working with others, though, is always a challenge. You know, very often it requires patience, perseverance, and really, you know, developing trust in the group. So let's hear from these two initiatives that we just heard from. What are the benefits that they see around working with others? What maybe other, you know, benefits that we might not be from the beginning see or notice, but through the process of working together, we start experiencing. So let's play the video now.
So what do we see the benefits of working together? Well, to be brutally honest, many of us in the UK Finance and Investment Coalition in the UK are actually quite small players. And in order to get that message recognised, and for us to be able to create a campaign that hopefully has momentum and can generate some form of really systemic change in finance, we knew we were going to have to come together. I think many of you are probably familiar with the African proverb: if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. Coupled with the fact that togetherness, radical interdependency, collective action is very much part and parcel of being a B Corp. So for us, convening this coalition out of what was fundamentally the Finance and Investment Working Group was a natural transition, really, for us to have our voices heard and for us to start this campaign to get corporate governance really anchored in the conversation around how we pivot finance into being a real force for good.
The benefit that I find by working together on this project, Let's Play Equal, is that we all have our other backgrounds and we all are creative people from different walks of life and bring so much to the table together. It's so refreshing to get involved with these fantastic B Corp companies. As a nonprofit foundation, Challenge Day is thrilled to be involved and thrilled to work together with these inspirational people.
This also allows us simply to learn from each other and nurture our interdependence. And in our group, everybody, every agency, every company, we all have different expertise and different specialty. This is a unique opportunity for us to bring all this knowledge to one table and work together on something that we all want to create. This also teaches us how different people are working and how we can find space to make it possible to work together. It's sometimes challenging, but it is also very rewarding, and we're hoping that the game as a final product will also show that the journey to get there was a very interesting one.
I really love what Małgosia shares, that really persevering through the challenges of, you know, trying to make things work together, you know, collaborative work. I guess like anyone on the screens today here would agree that, you know, really building and maintaining relationships of any sort is really the hard task, and collaboration is something like that. It requires so much effort, but the rewards that come from that, I guess, like that we need to remind ourselves more often than not. And now let's continue to the next slide, though, to really understand. We set up something. Setting up is the easy part very often, and there's innovation and new excitement of starting something. Especially entrepreneurial people would, I guess, like very much agree with what I'm sharing. But at the same time, to really maintain something and to start reaping results through that long-term process of working together and establishing working groups, that might be a different story. So let's hear from Beauty Coalition. Paolo is going to share with us from Beauty Coalition, like how they organize themselves to group to stay really connected and consistent, productive, and inclusive.
We know that it will be very important to stay connected, to be consistent, and to be productive. And this is why we will create a steering committee. The steering committee will be in charge of the coordination of the coalition. It will be in charge of the coordination of the working groups, of the communication, of the relationship between the members of the coalition and the coalition itself. It will make sure that the onboarding of everyone will be effective, that everyone will have the purpose of the coalition as a top of mind. So to be sure that we can work smoothly. There are so many things we can do. Obviously, we already know that it will not be always easy, but the motivation is there, and this can make a huge difference. We know that we can really change, transform the industry in which we are, which is something that is on one side necessary, on the other side very desirable.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Paolo, for sharing that. We already hinted some of the challenges that may come along the way, but now let's continue, to our last question that we asked to our initiatives. And in this case, Beauty Coalition is going to be responding to us. What are the challenges that they've been facing? So we know it from the front that there will be challenges on the way, and that we can start anticipating in our own initiatives.
We are a startup, and all the startups have challenges, and we had some. Perhaps we'll have even more in the future, but we are ready to deal with them. One challenge was that of capacity. There are a lot of things to do at the beginning, and all the members of the working team have their own job, and they still have a lot of things to do there. So sometimes they have to do a double job, and I'm very thankful to them for the efforts they made and they are still making. Then another challenge has been that of being on the same page about the governance. Who does what are the rules of the game, what are the different layers in the governance, but now we are on the same page and ready to start. And finally, recruitment has been a little bit of a challenge. It was not easy to let all the beauty companies that are B Corp know that the coalition is starting. And some of them did not apply yet, but the doors are open even for those European B Corps acting in the beauty industry who did not apply yet.
So there are call to actions in this session as well. You heard one from Paolo, but we also want to hear what you are thinking about, collective actions. Maybe you already have initiated one, or you're in the early phases, or so let's go to a Menti question now, and try to see what are some of the interesting themes, or, okay, we already have some results here, some of the interesting topics or industries that we want to transform as the B Corp movement. And I see here, well, actually quite equal responses. It seems like lots of them, but if I kind of try to cluster them a little bit, I see trees, and I see also regenerative agriculture, CO2 neutralization. So there are some here. Okay, so now we are getting there. Agriculture, food, obviously, at the center are taking space, and they are at the heart of the interest of the movement. And fashion and packaging are really following that as well. And that is fantastic, because right after, in 2 or 3 minutes, we will be moving to actually a networking space, which we especially curated for you to be able to talk to your fashion peers or food peers, to start thinking about what kind of collective actions you might want to start. So to close up this session, I would like to share 2 call to action from 2 of our initiatives. And one thing about one last maybe teaching point around collective action is that there's always a call to action through the collective action initiatives want to give, because there's always a need for amplifying their voice or finding a resource or a next event or campaign they're launching. So let's hear from Interdependence Coalition now, who Katie Hill from Interdependence Coalition is on the line and already joining me here in the screen as well. Katie, can you share with the community today what would be the call to action of Interdependence Coalition?
Yes, sure. Thank you. And thank you for sharing all this wonderful information about the actions going on. Yes, 3 quick calls. The first one is to think in your business what you could be doing to amplify the voices of those who are contributing to the business or who are impacted by your business. Just think more and consistently about how we can engage in those different voices so that we really do have stakeholders governing the business. Second call for action is please go onto our site, interdependencecoalition.eu, and have a look at it. It's full of all sorts of information. We're trying to demystify the concept and share really good best practice. So please have a look on that. And then the third call to action is, as soon as we have a date, we've invited the Vice President of the European Commission to join us for a webinar to talk about the proposal that the Commission are drawing up on the sustainable corporate governance. We'll be sending newsletters out. Please let us know that you can join, come and hear what is at stake, literally. So those are my 3 calls, sorry, 3 in 1.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Katie. So we have one more call to action from our UK peers. So that's our last video, and that will be also the saying goodbye for today's session. I know people are excited to move on to the networking. Let's play that video and then we move on.
So if you're a mainland European finance and investment B Corp and you're listening to this and you think, yes, we really want to engage with this call to arms, we want to get behind it, we want to play a role in hopefully pivoting finance into a much more comprehensive and systemic force for good, please do drop me a line. We would love to see finance and investment coalitions spring up around the world that we can work in concert with as well. And then collectively together as a big global voice on the finance stage, we can really start to pivot finance into being that incredible force for good that we all know it can be.
Thank you so much, Amy. And actually, to start a collective action project, you can go to B Corp directory to find your fellow B Corps. You can reach out to them through Beehive and other local tools, or reach out to us at B Lab to really help you connect with your right B Corps. But for these 4 initiatives, in the next slide, we left their contact information. Feel free to reach out to them. We will be sharing the slides later on with you